Hey crew, Mark Hadamaker here. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tiny piece of what we're going to be doing on the ESP roll number 175. It's where we're starting off with our kind of lengthy crossbody series. So as we know, crossbody, that's where all the real fat in the game is going to be whenever you're playing someone who's equally matched with you. And they're both interested in wanting a top game position. If you're constantly be able to run, it's going to be tough to get a really solid, secure mount top saddle on someone who is better than you. If you're equally matched, it's a tough place to get. We know there's more chances that you can play inside the guard, bottom scissors, and back and forth. But the top position, chances are you're going to be clocking back and forth from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, avoiding the legs where possible. So we're going to, starting on 175, we're giving a long roster of ideas of how to do both the offensive positions, offensive game from the top position, and we'll also be mixing in at the same time most of the defensive game at the same time. So in 175, we're going to be starting off with what we're calling, we're kind of tossing the riding pinning idea. And we've got this hybrid. It's a 7-point process. It's a hip checking process, which we're not going to cover in this freebie clip. Free market, right? Buy it. But what we are going to talk about here is we're going to take one position, actually position one out of that 7-point position, add in an alternate grip in there. We're going to put in a harness grip along with the first point, and then we're going to start talking about how to move from that position to a knee sneak, whether you're taking that all the way to the top saddle or just the knee ride. We're just going to be doing one tiny detail about how we're nitpicky about putting that knee placement in. And then again, we're going to be later on as we keep going on with the series, we're going to be talking about how we're dividing the body into quadrants. We're trying to force out particular limbs. Like in this particular position, I will be feeding a forearm a collar tie. And even though it might just look like we're seeing a standard underhook on the far side, we would treat the standard underhook a little differently. We're going to be not just isolating limbs, we're isolating the elevation of the limb to know whatever attack we're using to make sure we're doing the least amount of fishing or hand fighting as possible. Enough yakking here. So what I'm talking about, whenever I'm laying down crossbody, champ, let me bring you in here. Hip position number one. We've got the knee up tight against the body. We've got a strong outrigger foot going on. We don't worry about most of this going on right now. We do know we got a hip side knee tight to my hip, and we got an outrigger foot. It's not two knees up. All right. So later, we'll see the 175 for all the details on it. And then we've got the hip side arm. I was on the far side. This elbow we driving tight to my body. Now you can't see it right now, but you got an imagination. Okay, the second limb. What's it doing? Is it in his abdomen? Is it out in outer space? No, it's next to my hip. This arm is underhooking on the head, and then she's going to grip her hands into a gable grip position. All right, so she's got a nice harness grip position right here. If my arm were in this lower position, she would basically just have a nice underhook on it. But here I've made the error of taking my arm up around the head. Now, whether I'm applying my own harness from the bottom, which would be foolish, of course, but sometimes people, as they're moving, will get this arm in this high position. And what we're going to talk about, once we have the arm in this high position, this is what we're going to use to trigger into our knee sneak or that knee ride position. And how we're doing that, we're being very particular about it right now. We know, even from being this low, there's a tendency for some to want to just put a chest down and then lift that knee up quickly and put it on top. We're going to put everything what we call proper here at the last moment. But we know the problem with that is if just picking up the knee, if this knee is tight, which it is, up against my hip, I feel any movement from it, we know that I've got to hit immediate shrimp, wrestler's kick, start running with the knee sneak to bottom scissors, half guard, full guard, or start putting elevators in, or shooting myself all the way out for a scissors get up. So what I'm saying is super slow. She just picks this knee up. I'm going to feel that lifting, and I go ahead and move it out. Sure, she's still at her place where she's able to come right back down and put that knee in front of my hips, but I've already got the pelvis popped up. She missed the knee ride, and the whole point of her putting that into play. Now, if I was adding hands and everything else in here as well, we know I've got that better shot, that escape happening. But the key is back again. Let's do it the same way. Leave the secret stuff out, please. Put the knee right back up on my hip. And slide it in, slide it in, slide it in. No, yeah, slide, right? Nice and tight. And as soon as let's do this to speed. Whenever you're ready, just throw that knee on top and go. We know as soon as we do this, we've wasted that effort because that knee is still down, and I had some elevation because that pressure came up. Even though she's still hanging on tight with the harness grip, I'm still able to get those hips out and get off my back, which we know is going to be the first order of business for me to get on my defensive position. So we're saying that ain't the way to throw that knee up. Slide it back, slide that knee up tight against me. There's another temptation to think, well, so I can't shoot my hips away. She's got the harness grip and squeeze it nice and tight, and they'll start pulling and clutching into me, thinking, well, they'll physically pin me into place. All right, so let's do the same thing. Now squeeze like a mother. There you go. Which I think one hand is you're wasting a lot of energy from the top position. You kind of get the rest from there. Now at the same time she throws that knee on, we get the exact same circumstance. Plus I get to use a knee prop against that knee and start buttoning to the inside. Because what we're forgetting here is, raise up for just a moment, slide that way, go away, go away, go away. When we get the harness grip in, by the dint of harness gripping, her elbow is actually riding above my hips. So even that squeeze in is doing nothing about that hip movement. So it's a waste of energy. It feels right. It feels like you're squeezing someone right down there and that's where you want them to be, but it's not the way to go. Now let's talk about how to take that shrimp away from me and how to put that that knee on top easily. The knee lift, there's no secret to that. You're just gonna slide and step it on top just as you normally would. Here's the key. Back in, please. Knee check, hip check position number 1. Go to harness grip, please. All right. Now let's do it once, real quick, and put the knee on whenever you want to. Go. Okay, there you go. And it's on top. And you saw me try to take the shrimp out position. Still, that thing came up, landed right there, lower sternum position. What was the key? And you can't hear it on that. My neck popped on it. Here's what happens. What we're talking about is very slowly, she's got the grip and she thinks before she picks this knee up, she does this counter rotation with the harness grip and takes my far side ear to my far side shoulder. Slowly show that turn. Now the knee goes, because I don't have my bridge at that point. And it's not a small pop. You can get out here, Jen. There you go. It's not a small pop with that. I mean, she's hanging on with the harness grip. And so if my near side ear is resting in that position here, it's this big pop. It's just not, it's not just shooting me this way. You do want to make that ear move all the way down. That bridge goes away from me, and me trying to get that really nice wrestler's kick or shrimp out, that goes away. So again, if you're into nitpicky details, that should float your boat right there. You know, take it to the mat and give it a shot. And we'll be adding, like I said, on from there, we'll have that whole 7-point hip check on 175. And then, like we said, we start busting the body into limb quadrants regarding elevation. And we'll start putting some nasty, logical, pragmatic subchains on each one of those that will follow some natural movement. And of course, we'll be putting some of the defense in along the same way, because it doesn't make any sense. I mean, you might as well, since you're working with a partner, you should be flipping it back and forth. Make sure your offensive game and defensive game is just as good, just like you would do in boxing. You just don't, if you're just only doing your offensive game, that's basically just hitting the bag all the time. So it's about the subs and the counter side of it, so the tit for tat and the give and take. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that tip. You probably already know it, but if not, take it to the mat, give it a shot, work it hard. Remember, it's not just one arm moving. You want to make them both twist at the same time, because we want that neck to be moving in a ballistic, jerky manner. All right, guys, get out there, work it, have fun, and enjoy the day.